Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for September 1st, 2025, coming to us from Paris, France. Once again, at the same venue where we saw Clash in Paris. We had the fallout from that event on Raw. A lot to discuss. Huge crowd. One of the biggest Raw crowds that I can remember in a long time. They said over 20,000 fans in attendance for Monday Night Raw. Very vocal fans. They were loud the entire night. Hard to top them. One of the best Raw crowds in very recent memory and maybe even long memory. Going back years. They were on fire for this show. Let's talk about it. CM Punk was at the entrance to the arena waiting for the arrival of Seth freaking Rollins. Remember, Rollins won the four-way at Clash in Paris with some help from his wife, Becky Lynch. We saw the footage from Clash in Paris. Chat room, let me know your thoughts on this CM Punk Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch storyline. Leave a comment on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts. Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso came to the ring for a promo. He wasn't his usual happy self. And as a matter of fact, he didn't even run it back despite the fans wanting it. He said that he was supposed to be there as world champion, but the only thing he had was medical tape around his waist. He did call out the Vision. He got LA Knight instead. And Knight brought up how they had a chance to put Rollins through a table. Jay spoiled it. Knight had a chance to come off the top rope and put Rollins through the announce desk. But again, Jay spoiled it. Knight was fired up. He said he's pissed off. He's sick and tired of not being the world champion. And at this point, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed came out there. Massive boos from the fans. Breakker brought up how Heyman was in the hospital. And because of that, there's nobody to hold them back. They said that Jay and LA Knight are going to be the next ones to go to the hospital side by side with Roman Reigns. They issued a challenge, a tag team match for the main event. Knight and Jey Uso accepted the match. We had a backstage segment. And by the way, this was a solid opener to the show. Amazing, the crowd reactions and everything. Fairly standard segment, but the crowd really took it to a whole new level. Now backstage, Io Sky apologized to the Kabuki Warriors. Asuka said it was okay. They hugged. Io wanted to be at ringside, but Asuka said that they would take care of Judgment Day. They didn't need Io's help. We had our first match of the evening, Roxanne and Raquel against Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors. Fairly standard tag team match here. Judgment Day largely in control, but then the Kabuki Warriors made the comeback. They were the baby faces in the match, even though Asuka and Kairi have definitely been moving more in the heelish direction. Kabuki Warriors were working well together. And then Raquel got the upper hand, sending Kairi into the barricade. But then Asuka got a hot tag. And then Kairi did the insane elbow to Roxanne on the outside. Or actually, not Roxanne, Raquel. Getting Raquel out of the equation. And then in the ring, it was a little messed up at the end. So Asuka went to kick Roxanne and completely missed when she was supposed to connect. Then Asuka went for a pin, but that wasn't the finish. I'm not sure if she forgot what was happening, but it was a little bit of a mess at the end. Asuka finally got Roxanne in the Asuka lock, and then Kairi got rid of Raquel. Asuka put on the Asuka lock, and Roxanne tapped out. So yes, Asuka and Kairi Sane picked up a win here. Solid match other than the ending, which was a bit of a mess. We had a video package from Adam Pearce. They did officially announce that at WrestlePalooza, it will be Stephanie Vaquer facing Io Sky for the vacant women's championship. Should be a hell of a match. No surprise here that they saved this for WrestlePalooza, the first premium live event on ESPN. We then had Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee. It was a good match, but your standard Raw match. The crowd heat, though, definitely made it more entertaining. Dragon Lee got in quite a bit of offense, but then, unfortunately, he was in stupid babyface mode where he got distracted by JD McDonagh. He gave JD a Hurricane Rana off the apron to the floor, and then he tried to finish off Balor, but Balor countered him, and then Balor came off the top with the coup de grace and got the 1-2-3 victory. Dragon Lee's not going anywhere. Finn Balor picks up a nice win. His first singles win, I think, in quite some time. It is what it is. Dragon Lee is kind of just enhancement talent at this point. Match was fine, but yeah, Dragon Lee's stupid babyface. Pretty standard stuff here. Then backstage, Nikki Bella made a little appearance and was giving props to Io Sky. And then we had the Kabuki Warriors interrupt. Asuka warned that Nikki is not Io's friend. And then Io noted that she could beat Stephanie Vaquer by herself. But Asuka pointed out that Io did not win at SummerSlam when she was all by herself. And Asuka tried to get them together and said that they can all be champions at the same time. So the plot continues to thicken with this one. Then backstage, Adam Pearce announced that Finn Balor and JD McDonagh were banned from ringside for Dominic's match against AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title. Now, keep in mind that at Clash at Paris, Adam Pearce said that Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed were banned for ringside for the world title match, and then Becky Lynch just interfered. He did not learn his lesson. Adam Pearce, just say everybody is banned from ringside. No interference. If anybody interferes, they are banned or suspended. They're suspended without pay, whatever you want to say. But Adam Pearce should just make it clear that nobody can interfere. Because if you just say this guy or this guy can't interfere, well, that's not stopping anybody else from interfering. But then again, if you did that, then you could never have interference because people would get suspended if you actually enforce the rules. And we know we can't have that. We have to have the outside interference in wrestling. We had New Day and Grayson Waller. I refuse to call him by that nickname that they've been using. New Day and Grayson Waller going up against Penta and the War Raiders. Crowd was absolutely loving Penta, and they liked the War Raiders too. Waller was a little bit of a jerk. He stomped on somebody's cell phone. I guess a fan's phone fell in the rampway, and Waller just stomped on it. That poor guy, his phone got smashed. If he had a good cover, though, maybe he's okay. So we had this match, and it was another standard Raw match with the heels getting the heat for a while. And then we had the hot tag with Penta. He built up momentum. We had the breakdown with everybody in the ring doing moves. But then the good guys got the upper hand. They triple teamed Xavier Woods. And then Penta hit the Mexican Destroyer. Got the 1-2-3 victory. It was fine. Just get these guys on TV, have them do a match, get the reactions in Paris. Pretty standard stuff. Backstage, we had Rhea Ripley interviewed, and she said she'll do whatever it takes to once again be the women's champion. She was hoping to get a future title shot, but then the Kabuki Warriors interrupted. Asuka and Kairi getting quite a bit of TV time this week. And Asuka said that Rhea and Io are not friends. Asuka told Rhea to stay away, and Rhea warned Asuka to not push her too much. So we're continuing to have some build-up. I have to say, I do like having these interactions with them in this storyline that's going on, and the Kabuki Warriors being in multiple segments. just makes the storyline feel like a bigger deal. I did like this stuff on Monday Night Raw with the Kabuki Warriors. They're building up to something and should be entertaining. And then we had Lyra Valkyria backstage with Adam Pearce. Lyra wants a match. And once again, she asked about Bayley, and Pearce said that Bayley would be back soon. We'll see what happens with that. Next up, we had the botch. The Intercontinental title match. They're basically the same thing. AJ Styles challenging Dominic for the championship. AJ Styles was like a god in Paris. When he came out there, they were singing for him, and they sang through the entire commercial break. When we came back from commercial, they were still singing for AJ Styles. We had the ring introductions, and the crowd kept singing for AJ, and then Dominic, with the heel move of the year perhaps, jumped AJ Styles during the ring introduction. That was great. I loved that. Match was pretty good here. They wrestled more like a PLE type of match than just a random TV match. It was not AJ with the early momentum and then Dominic gets the heat for a while and then AJ with his comeback, I should say, and then they go to the finish. It was more back and forth, longer match. They brawled on the outside a little bit. Dominic got power bombed onto the announce desk, and then we had two commercial breaks for this one. They had a good amount of time for this. Dominic then did the Three Amigos, came off the top with the frog splash. AJ kicked out of that, and then Styles blocked the 619, hit the Styles clash, and maybe this was the only botch or mishap of the match because Styles hit the move very close to the rope, so you know the rope break is coming. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is Styles went for a cover, but then had to readjust himself so Dominic could get his foot on the rope. So he had Dominic pinned. Dominic couldn't move his feet, and AJ Styles had to rearrange himself in position so Dominic could get his foot on the rope. Like, it just looked bad on TV, just obviously choreographed, and he had to get himself in the right position for Dominic to get his foot on the rope. So yeah, that took me out a little bit. Other than that, it was a pretty damn good match for a TV match. And yeah, Dominic, of course, got his foot on the rope. And then here we go. We had the interference with the referee distracted by Dominic. El Grande Americano headbutted Styles with the loaded plate in his mask. And then Dominic, easy pickings at this point, came off the top with the frog splash and got the 1-2-3 victory. Again, Adam Pearce should just ban everybody. So they kind of gave that away. I really think AJ should have won the title here. Like, imagine the pop. And that surprises me too, because WWE is all about moments. They make a big deal out of this. It's the moments. You're in Paris. Pull the trigger on the title change. Get the crowd pop. Dominic is going to win the AAA title most likely. Let him win the AAA title. He'll have another title. AJ can have one more run as IC champion and maybe have El Grande Americano or somebody else beat him for the title. I would have pulled the trigger here with AJ in Paris and have that moment with AJ winning the title. They would have blown the roof off of the place. Yeah, I know we got the Sami Zayn win on Friday, but still, it's AJ Styles in Paris. Like, how do you miss that? I don't know. I think they should have done it. I think they should have pulled the trigger on that. Mr. Anderson, I will get to your super chat in just a minute because I have a lot to say about that and what may happen on the next show. So I will get to your super chat. Don't worry. And he meant it. Jerry meant it as an example and not a statement. Fair enough. All right. Next segment we had was backstage with LA Knight. Asked if he can coexist with Jey Uso, and Knight said he doesn't know, but they'll either survive together or they'll die apart. And he said if you do dirt, he'll get dirt, referring to Jey Uso. And Jey Uso confronted Knight and said that he needs to take care of business, and he told Knight to stay out of his way. So again, the can they coexist storyline was in play here. Then backstage, Adam Pearce told CM Punk that Seth Rollins somehow managed to get into the building despite there apparently only being one way in and one way out, as Punk noted. Punk said he'll handle things and stormed off. We had a little video package from Rusev basically saying he's destined to be great. He's one of a kind. Hopefully that's not a tease of RVD coming back, although I wouldn't be opposed to it, I guess. But do we really need him at this point? With all due respect to RVD. Rusev said maybe him and Sheamus can become friends again if Sheamus is willing to accept his place below Rusev. And Rusev warned the other superstars that they're in trouble. Basically, WWE just not really sure what to do with Rusev, but he'll show up every now and then, beat somebody up, and then they'll do the video packages with him talking about how great he is. Kind of like Nakamura and some of these other mid-card acts. Now, before the main event match, CM Punk came down to the ring for a promo, and he said he was hijacking the show until Seth Rollins came down to the ring. Rollins' music hit, but instead of Rollins, it was the man, Becky Lynch. She said that she is the man that Punk will have to deal with for the time being. And the crowd immediately started chanting for AJ Lee. And she said, direct quote, they're always chanting for a dope that doesn't work here. Now, she continued to rant. CM Punk was ready to leave. He just wanted Rollins, but Becky told him to stay there. He's going to listen to her. She said that Punk has been telling lies about the father of her child. And Punk just outright said he's a coward. And the crowd was chanting. Becky told the fans to shut up. She said that Seth Rollins is everything CM Punk isn't. Buff, good looking, etc. She said that her and Rollins revolutionized the business. Crowd was chanting, shut the F up. And she told Punk that he needs to get out of the way. Crowd was once again chanting for AJ Lee, and Becky once again said she doesn't work here. And then Punk responded, thinking that this is all part of the 10-year beef because fans were chanting for him when he was gone. Punk said that Seth Rollins hides behind the title, hides behind Heyman, hides behind Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and now is hiding behind his wife. Punk said that Becky Lynch is the man, but she has bad taste and married a bum. Punk then said it will never be over between himself and Seth Rollins. And now we had Seth Rollins coming out there on the stage and told Punk to come say it to his face. Punk tried to leave the ring. Becky Lynch blocked him. And then Rollins walked to the back, and Becky started slapping Punk repeatedly, calling him pathetic. And then Punk responded by saying that he will make Rollins and Becky Lynch regret ever putting their hands on him. And then he started to leave. Becky kept mocking him, and she tried to get the fans to do the na 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 goodbye song. Punk was very angry, but eventually stormed off as Becky Lynch said that he will never be champion. And that was the end of the segment. I thought we were getting AJ Lee here, even though it wasn't the last segment, which threw me off because I'm thinking, okay, if AJ Lee was showing up, she would be out there at the end. But we got no AJ Lee. And I was thinking, as this segment was happening, they missed out. If she popped up from under the ring while Becky was slapping Punk, I'm telling you, that crowd reaction, it would have been an all-time pop. It would have been like when Sami Zayn hit Roman Reigns with the chair at the Royal Rumble. It would have been that level of pop, like the sound for that. They did such a great job. Let me say this. This was Becky Lynch's best heel promo she's ever done. I'm throwing that out there right now. I don't know if it's the material, but when she was out there with Punk, she was on fire. Maybe because Lyra Valkyria doesn't have the experience on the mic, and Nikki Bella, she's definitely not The Rock. Let's just put it that way. And maybe because the material and the people she's working with, Becky doesn't come off that great. But when she was in there with Punk doing this segment, she was nailing it. She did excellent here. Best heel work she's ever done. I just wanted to throw that out there first. And the tension as this was building up and she's slapping him, I could not have I just don't think there was a better opportunity to bring AJ Lee back in that very moment than that very moment. If she came out there from under the ring, or as Punk walked to the back and then AJ's music hit and she stormed out there and attacked Becky, it would have been an all-time moment. Now, there's a second best place to do this, and that's Friday night. I forgot that SmackDown is in Chicago, and I didn't really think about it because, well, it's SmackDown and CM Punk is a Raw guy, but they don't really honor the brand extension at this time. So Punk went backstage and he asked Adam Pearce, where is SmackDown on Friday? And Pearce said it was Chicago. And then Pearce was like, why? Why are you asking this? And Punk just responded with, tremendous. It's got to be happening on Friday. And it will be the second best place to do this after Paris. Any random city in the US, yeah, AJ Lee will get a good pop. And people are expecting it now. But I think Paris would have been the best place to do it in that promo. The thing is not just Paris, but also that segment. They were building and building and building to it, and it just didn't happen. So they got to come up with something good on Friday in order for it to get the level of pop that I think it can get and that it would have gotten on Raw. So Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat, says, what do you think Punk has planned for SmackDown? Well, they definitely teased something with him, and you would think that we're going to get AJ Lee showing up. But the thing is, Punk didn't invite Rollins and Becky to show up on SmackDown, so why would they even be there? That's the only thing that makes me wonder, is AJ Lee actually showing up? But for Punk to be on SmackDown, what's the point of that if AJ Lee's not showing up? Because like I said, that's the second best place to have her return, in Chicago. And she's there in the city. She doesn't have to travel to Europe to do this. So we'll see what happens on Friday, but I would presume AJ Lee's returning. The question is, will they have the type of segment that will have that suspense and tension leading up to the moment? That's the thing. And I still question if it was the right idea to hold off on it if AJ Lee is in fact returning, but I feel like it is. Rhea Ripley is in the storyline with Io Sky right now and Asuka, so I don't think it's Rhea Ripley. And beyond that, people are expecting AJ Lee. And, they tease this so strongly with Punk and Becky. Anybody other than AJ is going to be a big disappointment. I know City by the Bay brought up Paige, but yeah, it's got to be AJ at this point. But I think back to when they were setting up Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, their reunion, and then there was a city where I thought it would have been perfect. And when they did reunite, it still got the big reaction, but I wonder if they had done it sooner, it would have been the right time. It's all about waiting for the right moment to do it. We'll see what happens on Friday. But we got one more segment to talk about, and that was our tag team match main event. The bad guys, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, taking advantage of Jey Uso's ribs. Eventually, LA Knight tagged in, but then we had Braun Breaker distracting Knight. Reed regained the upper hand. Knight was sent into the steel steps. Crowd was chanting for Roman Reigns. Poor LA Knight and Jey Uso. Roman was not there. He's in the hospital licking his wounds. Then we had Jey Uso with a hot tag. Jey built up momentum, and then him and Knight actually worked together, set Bronson Reed out of the ring. LA Knight hit the BFT to Breaker, and then Jey came off the top with the Uso splash, but Bronson Reed broke up the pin. Jey managed to fight back, but then after he hit an Uso splash to Reed, Breaker came in with the spear and got the 1-2-3 victory over a very game Jey Uso and LA Knight. And then after the match, we had the attack. LA Knight actually saved Jey Uso from the tsunami, but then he got hit with a spear, and then Jey was hit with another spear by Breaker, and then Bronson Reed came off the top with the tsunami and perhaps was going to get hit with it again, but then Jimmy Uso ran down out there with a steel chair, chased off the bad guys and checked on Jey, and Jey was like basically saying that I can't do this alone. I need you. Definitely feels like we're getting that reunion of the Usos. I like the ending to the show, although I wonder why wasn't Jimmy out there sooner? The moment that they did the post-match attack, shouldn't Jimmy immediately be out there to make the save? I don't know. But otherwise, it was a nice ending to the show, and I do feel like we're getting some sort of a setup for War Games. You know, you got LA Knight helping out Jey. You got Jimmy out there. Roman Reigns will be back. And I don't know if CM Punk will be in the mix. Maybe Rollins gets a new male member on his side, but definitely feels like this is leading to War Games for Survivor Series. And all in all, I thought Raw was a very good show. It did feel short to me of its potential, because I think this could have been an all-time great Raw if they had done a couple things. One of them being AJ Lee's return. If she had shown up, it would have been an all-time great Raw moment. And maybe to a little bit lesser extent, but still a big deal, if AJ Styles had won the Intercontinental title. Those two moments would have put this Raw at an all-time great level, but they didn't do it. And a lot of the show was just your standard Raw, but we did have an excellent crowd, one of the best crowds in a very long time. I'm giving it 7 out of 10. Really good Raw, but fell just a little bit short of being one of the best Raws in recent memory. It's too bad, because I feel like with that crowd, you should give them the moments. Give us the moments with that hot crowd, because we'll never forget it. You know, it just doesn't have the impact if you do it in Kansas or Corpus Christi, Texas, or wherever. You know, with all due respect to the United States, I'm a U.S. citizen, happy to be here, but the European fans are just next level, and they deserve the moments. Give them the moments. You know, they got this tour coming up in January, and I'm saying right now, give them some moments. Don't produce these throwaway shows that might have one or two good segments. Give them a big title change or a major development. They deserve it. They have earned it with their reactions. Just wanted to say that. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says John Cena versus Dirty Dom. Well, Caleb Jacobs mentioned this on the other stream. He sent in that super chat. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know if we're going to get AJ Styles versus John Cena, but Cena versus Dirty Dom, and Cena goes for the IC title. You know what? I'm fine with that. You got the Brock Lesnar match. Maybe they could do that in Australia. I would not be opposed to John Cena versus Dominic for the IC title. Maybe we'll get it at the Australia show, Crown Jewel. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. On that note, I'm off for the evening. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up on the No DQ YouTube channel, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. Have a great week, everyone. Take care. I'll see you for No DQ review coming up Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Dynamite recap on Wednesday, and then SmackDown. Hopefully we get a moment there in Chicago. That'll be Friday night. Say yes to no DQ, and I will see you all next time.